is Anthony Rodriguez. I'm with No Worries Dog Training out of Shelby County, but service all over Alabama. We're here at Whiskers and Wags, and what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about enrichment. We're going to showcase some of the stuff Miss Kim has in here available for you, and hopefully conjure up some ideas of things you can do for your dogs at home or out in the world. So we'll go ahead and get started. Enrichment is a huge topic, so I will do my best to address as much as I can about enrichment, but the truth is we don't have enough time to go as deep as we can because there truly is no end to the idea of enrichment. Now, enrichment in my mind is anything that you can do to help improve your dog's quality of life, whether that be through feeding, whether that be through addressing breed-specific or species-specific behaviors like chewing and digging and shredding. Some behaviors that people might see as problematic actually are things dogs need to do. So we'll try to cover those topics today. Some enrichment can involve you. Some enrichment can be independent enrichment. So for those puppies or adolescent dogs that are really just needing things to do and you have things that you have to do as well, finding that middle ground to where our dogs can do things productive independently. So, so as far as enrichment goes, the things that I try to look at how we can utilize enrichment is to build our dog's confidence is a big one. Increase our dog's independence is something that I just mentioned. Also improve our dog's patience. You know, when you're going to give your dog an enrichment item, we assume they're going to be excited. It's a good thing, right? They should be excited about it. But if your dog's bouncing off the walls and then you give them their Kong or Busy Bone, they might think that's the way to get those things, right? So even just before you administer something to your dog, giving them a chance to calm themselves down, I like to say, give them a chance to come back to reality, right? Is something that we can all recognize. You know, because once your dogs realize that impulsive behavior makes it take longer for them to get that thing, they might really recognize, okay, if I sit, if I take a deep breath, I offer a calm behavior, that can give me that enrichment item too. So something to think about, just how you interact with your dogs day to day can improve those patient-like skills that we want them to develop. Okay? So we'll go ahead and take a look at this wall, and I'm just going to pull some items off and show you how you can utilize them or what they may, how they can be most beneficial to you and your dog. So let's start with this fluffy giraffe. This is a big guy right here. So this is a Fab Dog Twisty's giant tug rope, right? And if you can hear already the crinkling in here, right? Dogs are attracted to crinkle probably a lot because we give them things that come out of crinkly bags, right? They hear that sound and they start looking and saying, where's it coming from, right? But this is a giant stuffed toy, right? Great for tugging, I would assume, right? It's got some elastic stretch to it, and that crinkle may be something that's they're interested in, right? Now, as we kind of go along thinking about certain aspects of enrichment, especially with tugging and shredding and chewing, right? Know your dog and know what they can tolerate, okay? In other words, that giraffe's probably not going to last too long at my house, right? But for some folks, it could last, you know, their whole lifetime. It could be their favorite toy. It could be their little baby they carry around, right? A lot of dogs have little babies, right? But if you don't think this thing is going to last in your home, search power chewers, right? Power chewer is a great key term you can look for when it comes to assessing the durability of certain products, right? But crinkly things are great, even if it's just for a little bit of play action, right? This little bear is something I spotted earlier from the company Aroma Dog. You know, this is actually advertised as a calming product for some dogs. It also has this crinkle, but what else it has is a lavender kind of aroma that happens when it's being squeezed, right? So yeah, another thing to look at when it comes to enrichment is just how you can utilize smells to enrich your dogs, right? More times than not, they're going to be attracted to lavender-like smells, but whether you have a diffuser or candles, you know, obviously out of reach from the dogs, can really be effective. Sound is another thing we don't think of a lot of times when it comes to enrichment, but whether it's utilizing an app on your TV or talk radio or podcast or audiobooks, it does not have to be dog-centric content. Like, you don't have to put on your TV, you know, the squirrels eating out of the feeder on the TV, right? Some dogs, that can be really frustrating. You know, TVs are like digital windows for dogs because the quality is so good now. And a lot of dogs watch TV and look for things, right? So if you have one of those dogs, it may not be the best idea to play that type of content, but I always try to advise people, play stuff that you're going to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, play stuff that is the natural atmosphere of your house, right? If you like to watch Friends, play Friends when you're gone, right? All my dogs watch stuff that I watch when I'm gone,
right.
And they relax pretty well. You know, that's another thought, is that a lot of dogs will have different, I like to curate content for them. Hey, baby. But either way, whatever you like to listen to, yeah, bring it right over here. You go, mama. Hey, mama. Good. It's okay.
She's very nervous.
Yep.
There
So
we go.
basically, whatever you like to watch, your dogs will like to watch too. So we'll go back to the wall and see what we find. So along the lines of chewing, right? You have some really durable chews right here. This is Jolly Pets. Jolly Pets makes Jolly balls, Jolly eggs, lots of Jolly equipment for our animals. But when you're going to give your dog one of these toys, okay, especially if they've never had something like that before, always supervise them until you can trust they know how to play with these things, right? These types of toys, the smaller rubber chews, are likely going to be supervised the entire time they have it, right? When you get into nyla bones and things like that, that are more durable and they're going to last long, and there's really not a major concern with chunking things off and swallowing them, you might could leave that with your dog, but again, I highly advise supervising them. Also, pet cameras are really great. I know Wyze, W-Y-Z-E, makes a camera that's available on Amazon, and it's really cheap. No subscription required. I have like 7 of them, you know, so very much come in handy when it comes to supervising your dog from a distance. And, you know, it's reassuring when you see your dog working on something independent from you in a relaxed environment. So it can be very comforting to know, all right, your dog is actually working this thing without you having to be present. So that's really cool. Balls are great. So durable balls, squeaky balls, rope type balls. If your dog, I always get this question, you know, my dog doesn't like tennis balls or doesn't like toys, you know. And the truth is, when somebody says that to me, I always ask, why should they, right? Some dogs are naturally drawn to fast-moving things, being tennis balls or high-pitched squeaky sounds, right? So if you find that your dog's not interested in a toy or in an object, now it's time to be creative and to say, how can we make this thing more interesting to our dogs? Tennis balls, show this wall right here. So this wall is covered with tennis balls, right, that are cut in half. And Miss Kim will tell you, because there's so many tennis balls, it's probably not that difficult to cut open a tennis ball, right? So something you can do with any tennis ball is you can cut a slit in it, and you can open it up, and you can put food in the tennis ball, right? Now, again, if your dog is like mine, who will take a tennis ball and make it disappear, right, we are, of course, going to supervise, right? But having multiple tennis balls with food in them, now you can create a game out of that, right? They may go get it, right? They may not bring it back, but you have another one. Show it to them, they let it go, throw it, right? Now you're playing fetch with them, right? There's just food involved. And most things do start with food being oriented into the game or into the activity. But once your dogs figure out the game, you can fade it out, right? Because the joy is in the chase and in the interactivity with the people, right? So if your dogs aren't ball motivated, you can take that approach and just see what happens. I like how a lot of these balls have strings or ropes on them too. If your dog is hyper ball motivated, anything you can elevate or hang now becomes interesting, right? You can put this on the end of a tug rope or the end of a bungee, and now they're playing tug with that ball, and potentially you can transition that to a tug rope too, right? So like I said, creativity is the name of the game. We've got Kongs. Kongs are like very, I don't know how to say it. It's mainstream vessels for food, right? The way that I look at Kongs is something you can stuff, something you can fill, whether it's with their food. If your dog eats raw food, great for stuffing, right? But there's a lot of vessels you can search up. So like I said, depending on your dog, some dogs will saw through a Kong, so you may go more durable. Some dogs can saw through most silicone kind of thing, so you may look at stuffing a bone with their raw food. But like I said, whatever you might stuff, supervise first. If your dogs like that approach, they like eating things out of Kong, try freezing a Kong and see what happens, right? I don't recommend freezing on the first few attempts with the Kong, just so your dog doesn't get frustrated, right? Frustration is a big aspect of enrichment, because if your dog is frustrated with the game or can't get the food out, like you stuff a Kong with something that's impossible for you to get out with your hands, it's going to be frustrating for your dogs, and then they may shut down or say, it's not worth it, right? Or I'll wait for the human to get it and give it to me, right? That's often the case with enrichment. So access is a big part of this, right? These types of feeders are great. So let's talk about feeding dogs meals, right? So standard, or I guess our culture says bowls are pretty standard, right? Feeding your dog out of a bowl. And inherently there's nothing wrong with that. But with young dogs, especially nowadays, dogs with such active brains, feeding is a great opportunity to take advantage of, right? You can accomplish the idea of giving them an activity to do, right? This activity can be done potentially independent from you, right? This activity could also be done in a crate or in a space that they may need some positive association with, right? So I love dispenser toys, right? So this Totally Pooched little thing is a great dispenser toy. You just open it up, pour the food in, pop it in, and watch them, right? Watch them work. That's great. This is one of my go-to balls, is this treat tumble right here, right? I love these, especially for bigger dogs, especially for crate enrichment, right? Where you can fill this up with food, you can put some treats in there too, and you can place it in the crate, right? Let your dog's kind of curiosity take advantage of the situation, right? Because a ball like this, which is just a hard shell with a couple holes drilled into it, all they really need to do is smell it and nudge it, and a piece of food will come out. And once they get the hang of it, then they're off to the races. So yeah, those are like my favorite for when it comes to kibble feeding. Topples are also great for raw type food, soft food. You can fill them up, you can freeze them. You can potentially take the small one and stick it into the bigger one, right? So again, as you're teaching your dogs these kind of toys, start easy and then ramp up the difficulty only as they can manipulate it or work it successfully. So with feeders, one other thing I want to show you, two things, because here is an idea, a foraging mat, right? So most people utilize snuffle mats. So snuffle mats, there's one over here we can show. The idea of a snuffle mat is that it will simulate foraging-like behavior, right? So basically it's just frilly fabric that you can kind of scatter food within, and your dogs can forage and search for the food. Foraging is such a great skill for dogs to utilize and practice, because inherently what they're doing is they're smelling and breathing and searching for food. So when dogs are foraging, especially the hyperactive dogs, it slows their brain down, right? They're breathing in and out, so inherently regulating themselves a little bit more so than if you just give them a slow feeder bowl and they just eat it intensely, right? So if any way you can slow down feeding is beyond worth doing. And I like to say that grass, yeah, Lincoln knows about it. Grass is the original snuffle mat, right? So you can take your dog's food bowl if they're by themselves and there's no issues with feeding out in the grass. Take their food bowl, toss it out there, and watch what they do, right? Because that methodical practice of searching for food out in the world, out in the stimulating environment, can really be beneficial, and it's fun to watch too. So let's see. Aside from feeding, another way I utilize enrichment is what I call busy work, right? Busy work is the concept of giving your dog something to do that doesn't inherently involve you being active with them, right? So Kongs are great for that. These little popsicles are great for that too. I like to think, I mentioned this a second ago, anything you can fill is worth freezing. And when it comes to what do I fill these things with, there is a ton of different recipes you can search for. You can search Kong recipes or popsicle recipes, and you'll find tons of ingredients you can kind of experiment with. A lot of stuff you may already have. Greek yogurt is one of my favorite things to fill, these kind of vessels with and freeze. It's good probiotic, low fat, non-flavored Greek yogurt is a great approach for that. This little popsicle treat tray, you can make your own. You make your own little yogurt cubes, ice cubes, whatever you think your dogs might like. But do your research when it comes to giving your dog, human ingredients, just to make sure and be on the safe side. But yeah, they love frozen things. Some dogs just love ice. If you haven't given your dog ice yet, I encourage you, go to the fridge, get a couple pieces, play with them, give it to them, see what happens. Because if your dog loves ice, you're in for a treat, because that can be handy in a lot of different training aspects too. Let's see, we talked about some stuffies. So let me mention this. If your dog shreds toys and eats them, okay, it may be worth looking into a different type of toy that may be a little bit more durable, right? Or they have stuffed toys that are meant to be shredded apart by way of Velcro, right? But if your dog is an inhaler of stuffing, then always supervise. And if it is a matter of you go get a cheap toy, your dog shreds it, and then you collect it and throw it away, that's worth doing, right? Because your dog is still going to have a fun time doing that activity, but we got to be on the safe side. Okay? We don't want our dog swallowing anything that could clog them up or cause some damage. Let's see. So from enrichment that requires our activity, I mentioned tug. Tug is an excellent game to teach your dogs, because tug is a great way to teach dogs to drop it and get rid of things too. And it gives them a healthy outlet when they get aroused really easily. So tug ropes are awesome. Now, the flip side of tug that does not involve us, is this tether pole, right? I love these. I have 2 of these at my house. And one for the backyard, one for the front yard. And a game like that can take some, it's from the dog's perspective, can take some getting used to. Right? In other words, just because you get this pole, stick it in the ground, doesn't mean your dogs are naturally going to take to it, right? So it may require you playing with them first. So these things come with a detachable rope that you can play tug with in its own right, So you're playing tug with your dog, and you may start leading them towards the pole, right? Then you may attach the rope to the pole and still play with them, right? Once your dog is figuring out this game and realizes, all right, that rope is something we play with, then you can kind of take your hands off and let your dog keep playing, tugging on that pole, right? When your dog is playing tug with something like that doesn't require us, it could be this. They have a bungee, a lot of bungee options that you can tether to a tree branch or something sturdy. Egg them on, celebrate them, praise them for doing it. For my dogs, I like to spank them right on the butt. Yeah, go, and that just revs them up, and they're just having a blast. So you can imagine what type of dogs I have at home. Very active brains, right? But having that outlet is so tremendous, whether it is planted in the ground or it's just available at the ready. If your dogs get aroused really easily, especially dogs that pinch or jump at us when they get aroused, if they have an outlet for their arousal, it just makes all the sense in the world for them to gravitate towards that thing. If you have a dog at home who, anytime somebody comes to your house, they go and get their favorite toy and bring it to them, that is a similar concept, right? Not as intense as tugging, but they get excited, they go find their toy, right, or their baby. So watch what your dogs gravitate towards and let that help kind of decide what type of enrichment you feel they might like. Especially the wood chewers. So let's show some of this. So show the camera on some of these things. So these are different styles of busy work that encourage the dog to gnaw and chew, right? So you got buffalo horns, you got bent bones, you got shin bones and filled bones over here, antlers, all great, very durable options when it comes to busy work that simulates a gnawing-like behavior, A lot of dogs, especially young ones, when their teeth are coming in, they'll gnaw on the baseboards because it's right there. They'll gnaw on chair legs because they are right there. And a lot of people want to suppress that behavior, but if you point it in the right direction, your dogs will gravitate towards those types of things. So whether it is chewing on wood surfaces, whether it is shredding the carpet or the blanket, right? Don't get on to them for doing that. Recognize the need to do that behavior and point them in the right direction. All right, that's going to make life a lot easier and less destruction, right? Because they have that outlet now. So I love the shin bones. These shin bones too, or these little bones, once they empty these bones, don't throw them away. They're great for refilling. Again, just supervise, and if they start to crack or chip, you can obviously toss them at that point, but you can get a lot out of them for sure. Rawhide's the same way. Always supervise, so that way you're not running into any issues down the line. A lot of stuff now is going to be very much more digestible and no hide type of approach when it comes to those types of things to gnaw on. Let's see. Over here we got some slow feeder bowls. Again, great options for feeding. I love slow feeder bowls. Slow feeder bowls should be standard, I feel, or some type of way to slow our dogs down from eating. But any way you can make it interactive and engaging and time consuming, I think it's only going to be in everyone's best interest. Lick pads are great for car rides, for grooming, for vet visits. Again, supervised, because quick story, I had a dog riding in the car with me one time with a lick pad in the back seat. Driving, get down the road, look back, there's only half a lick pad left. So do not be like me and just assume they're having a great time, because that great time could mean they're chowing on the silicone pad too, which we do not want at all. These little bowl inserts are pretty interesting too. There's a lot of different options with that, but the concept's the same. We're trying to slow them down for eating. But my favorite are the dispensing toys that we talked about earlier. Let's see. Treat options. There's lots of different options over here. The Himalayan wood chews or dog chews are similar to this type of hard power chewing busy work. Again, just supervise. And some of these, I don't want to say exactly, but some of these, when you get to the last kind of nub, first off, always trade for something else when you're going to take it back. Don't just take it from your dog. Give them a piece of treat, then you can remove that last piece. But that last piece, you can soak in microwave, and sometimes it puffs up. So that way they can eat it. But read the instructions. Yeah, most of them are like that. But that last little bit is something that could be utilized too. As far as treats go, there's lots of different ideas when it comes to treats, utilizing treats for enrichment. But you could utilize their dog food too a lot of times. If it's a rainy day, say you can't go outside, you can't go for your normal walk, and you want your dog to have an activity to do. You could just take their bowl of food, and instead of just giving it to them like normal, make a game out of it. Be creative. You can take their food bowl, toss a piece, they go and get it, they come back. You might wait for them to sit or stop barking, and then toss them another one, right? Some dogs like Lincoln really like food, and they get all animated and vocal when you start to feed them. But like we talked about earlier, if you just give them that thing, then you could be reinforcing that impulsivity that they're showing. It's not a bad thing, it's just things to think about, right? They recognize that pattern too. But yeah, you can utilize their food for treats, right? Whether it's training or it's just an active behavior they can do. Some other things that you can find around your house and utilize for enrichment, paper towel tubes. Paper towel tubes are great for pouring food in, twisting it up, and giving it to your dog so they can shred, right? Even cardboard boxes are great for shredding too. As always, supervise and trust that your dog can work this and spit it out versus eating it. We do not want cardboard to disappear. Let's see. Just bath towels are great for creating a snuffle kind of activity for them too. You can take a bath towel, either mix it in and bundle it up or roll it up, and then present it to your dog and watch what they do. They're going to use their nose to locate the food. They're going to use their paws and their face to get to the food, and then that becomes an activity in itself too. So a lot of creativity comes with enrichment. So the sky is truly the limit, but let your dog's actions kind of guide which direction you go. Because yeah, some dogs do not care about tennis balls. Some dogs don't care about fluffy, squishy toys. But you'd be amazed at how when you engage with them and the object, that they will show some interest in it. And anything you can put inside of something else, they have those geometric balls that are very like spatial inside. You could take a towel, bundle it with food, stuff it inside that ball, and give it to them. So you're starting to combine different aspects of enrichment to help improve your dog's quality of life. So really, there's no limit to it. Freezing, elevating, stuffing, all different ways to level up when it comes to enrichment. So let's see what else we've got. We talked about sounds, we talked about smells, we talked about games, we talked about being interactive when it comes to enrichment. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot to cover when it comes to enrichment, but we don't have enough time to go that much deeper into it. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to showcase some of our adoptable dogs, right?
Yep.
Love, Hope, and Paw, right? Ginger, you want to tell us about some of these dogs? Would you like to? Let's start with the little ones.
Let's start with the babies. So we
who
have
do
a
have
box here too.
This is Major.
Major.
This is Major. He's about 10 or 12 weeks old. Not really sure what his breed is. Right now he's a mix. He's very loving.
He's happy.
Very loving, very happy puppy dog. He was dumped off at a church in Italy, and a good Samaritan found him and brought him to us. And so he's got 2 sets of shots. So he should be ready to go to a home the next few weeks, but he's still got to be neutered. But other than that, he's a happy little boy. He's a happy little boy.
Alright, so that's Major.
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Alright. Now who do we have here?
This is Brindle.
Brindle,
Yeah,
as you can see.
yeah. She, we had to come up with a name for
Right.
Yeah.
it. Somebody looks star over there. But anyway, Brindle was thrown out in Birmingham and with 2 other puppies. And when I got there to pick them up, the other 2 had them had given away. So all we wound up with was Brindle. She's probably about 12 to 14 weeks. She's also got 2 sets of shots. She was pretty dehydrated, very wormy when we got her, so she was pretty sick. But she's doing well now.
She plays well with Major too.
Yes.
Yeah, she does.
Both of them very playful puppies.
Yes, they all 3 play well.
Alright, and number 3 is down below.
Come here.
Two
Come here. Come here, Macallie. Come here, Macallie. Come here.
Now she's gonna be shy.
Yeah, now she wants to be shy.
She's never shy.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. This is Miss Callie.
Good job.
This is Callie. Again, not quite sure what she is or how big she's going to be. But as you can see, she's a very loving little baby.
What all does she need? Or
She has had 2 sets of shots. Again, she's got to be spayed. I believe she's in the probably 15 week, about 3 month old. So she's probably getting close to where she's going to be spayed. But yeah, she plays well with them. That's their playmates. They all play very well together, but they're all doing really well.
So we got Major, Brindle, and Callie. The puppies, soon to be ready to go.
And okay. And this is Nona.
I know, no girl.
Hey, Nona. Nona is about, what did we say she was, about a year?
About a year. Yeah.
Year old. She was abandoned in a house, and Good Samaritan got her, pulled her out, and fostered her for a little while. And they had some family issues come up, so we had to change fosters recently. So she's a little shy right now. She's getting accustomed again, but she's already had all her shots. She was spayed last week, and she is ready to go. Ready to go.
She's a good baby.
Yeah, right. All right, now bring Nona back.
No,
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah.
Because he's, yeah.
Is this-
You bad booby. You bad booby. There she is. Yep, I got a leg too, don't I? And this is Lincoln, the one everybody's been listening to all night.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
He's very vocal. He likes to
Good boy.
talk. But he is a good boy. We think he's a hound mix. I've had him since he was born. He's about 2.5. He'll be 3 in February. So he's been with me for a long time.
Good boy.
He's ready to go.
Hi,
He has
baby.
been ready to go.
Oh.
Yes, he is.
Good.
But he's a very, very happy boy.
Good job.
Good job, buddy.
Beautiful. So again, all these dogs are available through Ginger's Rescue, Love, Hope, and Paw. You can reach out to them on Facebook. Where else?
I'm on.
You can come talk to Miss Kim here.
Yes. Facebook, Pet Finder. My phone number's on both of those, so you can give me a call, email Kim or Anthony. Anthony can get in touch with me.
Yeah. So again, I'm Anthony with No Worries Dog Training, Ginger, Love, Hope, and Paw Rescue. And thank you to Miss Kim for letting us showcase your lovely store, Whiskers and Wags, out here off of 280 in Chelsea area. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video or message any of us. Or Lincoln, he might have some answers for you too.
He'll probably answer everything.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, and see you guys later.